higher rates of food and economic insecurity than non-LGBTQ people. Adult Americans who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender experience higher rates of food and economic insecurity than their non-LGBTQ counterparts, according to the findings of a key coronavirus pandemic survey released yesterday by the Census Bureau. The agency said of the survey, quote, overall, about 13.1% of LGBTQ adults lived in a household where there was sometimes or often not enough to eat in the past 7 days, compared to 7.2% of non-LGBTQ adults, about half. 36.6% of LGBTQ adults lived in a household that has difficulty paying for usual household expenses in the previous 7 days, compared to 26.1% of non-LGBT adults, end quote. While the COVID-19 pandemic has affected all Americans in one way or another, the newly released findings shed light on how it has been especially detrimental to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in the United States.
I can see that working with LGBT seniors. There was a lot of food insecurity last year, and we did a lot of delivering of gift cards. And, one thing that we realized is, when you get your food stamps, you can only buy food with that. And with, people needed to, buy more, Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer. And that was real for them there, because they didn't have to choose whether to buy food or yeah.
When I first saw these statistics, I was really, like I guess all of us, shocked in not such a great way.
Right.
And I was wondering why those statistics were such, but so many people I know in New York, for example, are in the theater and entertainment business. And of course, that was brutally hit by the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
See, I wasn't shocked by this, because my thought when I read this is that often the people who are openly gay and would tell somebody who's doing a survey that they are part of the LGBTQ community, they tend to skew younger. And we, younger people, tend to be poorer. And there's a lot of food insecurity among especially millennials and Gen Z. But also, the trans community is part of this group as well, and they have a lot of insecurity in jobs.
As someone who's single and living alone, I'm not giving out my address, but as someone single and living alone, I get frustrated all the time that it's so difficult to buy food for just one person. And I see myself throwing away things that I shouldn't be throwing away. And so for that to happen juxtaposed to this story, it frustrates me.
The survey is brand new. This is almost breaking news. It was only released yesterday by the Census Bureau. My reaction is similar to Dale's. We don't know the whys. Basically, what we're finding out is the number of LGBT is double in food insecurity to straight counterpart. Your example in terms of theater and the effect in New York, I think even a broader, greater reason, and we've reported this repeatedly at Queer News Tonight, the pandemic significantly early on adversely affected the LGBTQ community because we overperformed so significantly in percentage numbers of workers in the service industry, tourism, hospitality, bars, etc. And of course, this makes sense because now we're watching the natural outcome of having that overproduction in those industry segments. They don't have safety nets, and therefore they're hungry. We have to watch this closely. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus